For 40 years he was the most feared soldier in France, and he had never lost a battle. The French had a name for him that mothers used to frighten their children. He was the greatest English warrior of a war that had already lasted 100 years. Then, on a hot July afternoon, he charged a wall of earth and cannon. In a single hour his army was torn apart, and an age of the world ended. This is the story of the losing side. To understand how the greatest soldier of the age fell, we must go back many years. He was born into an English noble house in the long war for the crown of France. As a young man, he crossed the sea and never truly stopped fighting for the rest of his life. He was fearless to the point of madness, always first into the breach and last to leave. He stormed towns, broke sieges, and rode down larger armies with a handful of men. For decades his very name could empty a French town before he reached its walls. Men said he had the courage of a lion and no patience in him at all. He fought as knights had always fought, on horseback, sword in hand, trusting speed and courage. But even a lion could be caught, and once, long before, he had been. In a sudden dawn attack his small force was overwhelmed, and he was taken alive. For years he sat in captivity, while a young woman led France to victory after victory. At last he was ransomed and freed, and he went straight back to the war. He was older now, but no less bold, and the years only hardened his pride. He had given his whole life to one belief, that England should rule in France. By now the long war was turning against England for the last time. One by one the English lands in France were falling to the French king's new armies. In the south lay a rich old province of vineyards, English for 300 years. His people spoke their own tongue, sold their wine to England, and wished to stay English. When the French king's men took it, the great city of the south seethed with anger. Its leader sent word across the sea, begging the old lord to come and free them. And so, past 60 and grey, he sailed south one last time to win it all back. The city threw open its gates to him, and town after town returned to English hands. For a winter, it seemed the old lion had turned back the tide of the whole war. But the French king was not the reckless boy of the old days, and he did not panic. He raised 3 great armies and sent them south to take the province back for good. One of them laid siege to a small walled town on a river east of the city. With it came the king's master of artillery, a man who fought with iron, not honor. This gunner did not storm the town at once as knights would have done. Instead, he built a vast fortified camp in the fields beside the river. He dug deep ditches and threw up banks of earth, studded with sharpened stakes. Along those banks he set 300 guns, muzzle to muzzle, aimed at open ground. It was not a camp, but a trap, a killing field waiting for an attacker. No such thing had ever decided a battle before, and few understood what it meant. The old lord was coming, and he would ride straight into it. If the fall of the mighty moves you, take 1 second to subscribe and stand with the losing side. The old lord marched out from the city at the head of his army to save the town. He rode through the night, and at dawn he fell upon a French outpost and scattered it. His blood was up, and word came that pleased him more than any other could. Messengers told him the enemy in the great camp was breaking up and running away. From the town, watchers had seen a cloud of dust rising above the French lines. They took it for an army in flight, and sent that word to the old lord. But the dust was not an army leaving. It was the camp servants moving the horses. The guns still sat behind their banks, loaded, waiting, exactly where they had been. The old lord did not stop to check, and he did not wait for the rest of his men. He had beaten the French 100 times, and he believed he would beat them once more. He gave the order to advance at once upon the camp. Long before, as the price of his freedom, he had sworn a solemn oath. He had vowed never again to wear armor against the King of France. So the greatest soldier of the age rode toward the guns in a robe, on a white horse, unarmored. His men came on across the open ground, banners high. Sure the enemy was already beaten. They reached the ditch below the banks of earth and began to climb toward the stakes. And then, all along the line, the 300 guns spoke at once. A single volley tore through the packed ranks and dropped men by the score. Iron balls and stone shot ploughed long red lanes through the English host. Never had these soldiers heard such thunder, or seen men die so fast and so far away. But their lord was among them, and he would not turn back, and so neither would they. Again and again they climbed toward the guns, and again the guns cut them down. The ditch filled with the dead, and still the old lord urged his men onward. For hours the slaughter went on, and the field before the camp turned dark with blood. Then a shot struck the old lord's horse and brought it crashing down on top of him. The greatest soldier of the age lay pinned in the mud, unarmored and unable to rise. As his broken army scattered around him, a French soldier found him lying there. With a single blow of an axe, the terror of France was killed. His son died near him that same day, cut down in the same doomed charge. When the guns fell silent, thousands of the English lay dead in the ditches and the field. The rest were scattered, drowned in the river or taken. Almost none marched away whole. The little town surrendered within the hour, and the road to the great city lay open. Through the autumn, the French closed in, and at last the city gave up the fight. After 300 years, the last English land in the south was gone. Save for one town on the far northern coast, England held nothing in France at all. The war that had lasted more than 100 years was over, and England had lost it. It had all been decided in a single hour before a wall of guns. The old lord had fought for more than 40 years, and had never lost a battle. He had survived capture, ransom, and 100 fights across the whole of France. He had been the last and greatest champion of the way war had always been waged. But the world had changed under him, and he had refused to see it. The mounted charge and the sword and the courage of one brave man had ruled for ages. Now a line of guns behind a bank of earth could end all of that in an hour. He met the new age with the tactics of the old, and the new age destroyed him. Had he only stopped to look, he would have seen the guns still waiting in their trap. But he had never learned to wait, and he had never once been wrong before. And so the terror of France died in the mud beneath his own fallen horse. With him died the age of the knight and the long war and English France. This has been the story of the losing side,